Mr. James Scarlett. On a rare Monday night, we go again.
We do go again, mate. It's nice to just, it feels rare to have the two of us, just the two of us, without anyone, without a third person.
And nice. that too. That's never mind. Never mind somebody that's arguing with you for 4 hours either. So it's that's just a pleasant one. Now, I had a pretty heavy weekend, which I can touch on with the Deftones gig that I went to and so on. I was definitely cleaning up my act today because I feel like what was the point of dry January if you're just going to do an underwater February? And then you show up on the other side of the camera, a beer and a rum, and I still stood tall. And then Kerry says, "Why are you not having a drink to go into the pod?" And here I am now. No willpower whatsoever with a pint of Jack Daniels and Coke, which is just fucking absolutely beautiful. So that might end up 2 pints of Jack Daniels and Coke. Let's keep you sober enough that you don't listen back to the pod and don't like the James in the last 20 minutes, okay? I know you can get that way sometimes, but let's have a...
It's all about the pre-break at half-time, mate. It's what happens on the pre-break.
Yeah, what happens in the pre-break stays the pre-break, and it's good. It's good to see you. This is a sort of Q&A style one, something a bit different from especially the last two, which obviously focused on the press. How was your... That was a wee bit... A bit wild. I would say those two episodes were not, by any stretch of imagination, hugely popular for us. They were slap bang in the middle of. We get thousands of listeners, but sometimes you get those ones where they just fucking rock it. Those weren't ones that rock like a Bob Villain or Cancelling Kneecap. But other reviews, like you do a Trees review, Damnation review, Art Tangent review, those ones are always really, you seem to attract a new audience who are keen for that week because they want to hear about what they've been to. And then it sort of levels itself off again. However, that said, without doing any extra numbers for the podcast, the public feedback was quite healthy across all forums. I thought it was really good. People, a range of views, people expressing opinions that they probably never thought about before, people that were seeing both sides of the argument, people were for my points or against my points, and for or against Renfrey's and Sam's. Again, thank you to both of them coming on and having a conversation with us. Best part of 4 hours. Privately, I've never seen anything like it in the podcast. There was a lot of people who felt validated by my points that are in the industry, work for labels, management, bands, that have had dealings with these publications, American, UK, European, big, small, everywhere in between, who had experienced the kind of points that I brought, and well, a wee bit perplexed with why the hell I was mentioning them. Like, what have you got to gain for this at all? Why even talk about this? But thankfully, you are. I totally agree with everything you're saying. There's a lot of people who you were involved, you were copied in some of the emails that were a bit like, I can give you some crazy examples of everything you've said and how that's true. But I just don't want to go on the record. The reason I don't want to go on the record and I don't want to say anything about it or even be mentioned in any context is because I've got relationships with all these people that I want to keep. Which I think quite sad. I think that's the problem, that there's a lot of that, as I said before, that incestuous, everyone's just got a hand in each other's pocket around. It's a wee bit, I should be able to come on and say, this is my view, and if it's journalism the way that I see journalism, it should make no difference whatsoever to the coverage of Damnation, and if it does, then it's everything that I said it was. A little fan pack of people that are a bit like, okay, you do this on these terms, or it doesn't get done for you at all. So, hi. I mean, I want to give a quick shout out to Becky Laverty. She was the Damnation sort of PR for a period of time. She now books bands. She's a publicist for a number of bands. She now books bands for Roadburn. She posted publicly onto her Instagram that she'd listened to both podcasts and she had experience of price lists and copy approval, and one example where she managed to get a story or a review, I don't know which one it was, rewritten for one of the bands that she represented. So again, fair play, Becky. Becky and I have butted heads down the years to say, I mean, always been in friendly terms, but we're two people with strong opinions that stand by them, and we're butted head down the years. And after the first episode, I was a wee bit like, fuck, I'm actually going to dust down my notepad and actually go full journalist in this and get this stood up for myself. I was going to start approaching people like Becky and say, look, off the record or on the record, can you tell me exactly about your experiences? And I decided not to do that. That's not why I'm on this podcast. And I'm doing really interesting doing that route. But it was nice to see that we all listened to that and be like, you know what, this is... It wasn't like she had to go and do that. So I appreciate that, Becky. If you're now listening to this episode, it was nice to read. Everything okay at your end? Nobody try to talk to your festivals.
Right. Hi everyone, I'm James Scarlett from 2000 Trees in Arctangent. You may not have heard from me for 3 weeks. Fucking hell. I mean, that was a wild couple of episodes. I don't know how I think about it. Like, I quite enjoy. I always go for a walk on a Thursday and listen to the podcast. Like, you hear it before it goes out to the world, but I never hear it. So you always forget what's gone on, and listening back, it was quite a tricky listen because I guess neither me nor you are trying to pick fights with people in the music industry. I have upset a few people sort of not intentionally over the last 2 years, and you really haven't. And then, but you went into this as this is what you believe. So you weren't thinking I want to upset anyone or I don't want to upset anyone. You were just like, this is my fucking opinion, and you're gonna fucking hear it. And it was pretty, after that first week, when all the emails came in and, you know, various upset people, it was quite a weird place to be. And quite a weird place to be in the second episode for me, just because I'm like, my name's on the door, right, as you come in the Two Promoters One Pub. Two Promoters One Pub. That's a great idea. My name's on the door, but it in a weird way, it wasn't my fight. So it was a fucking strange episode. And I did want to say one thing actually, which is that I said, we talked about kneecap. In fact, I brought it up about kneecap in the episode, although it was in your notes, but I brought it up, and it was pointed out to me after the episode went out that Kerrang did have me on their podcast. And I did talk about kneecap on the Kerrang podcast. It felt a bit slightly like I should have remembered that at the time, but I didn't.
Maybe, but it's a bit like, I mean, you're clutching at straws there. I mean, there's desperation and there's beyond desperation to the point of, here's 42 examples of stories that should have been covered with Claps festivals and these things. And if you're, by the way, almost mistakenly stumbled across this on one chat, which would raise the question for me again. I'm not going back over this all again, but if I had it in my own fucking podcast, I 100% would went and I'd written it up then, and then I'd have published it. I wouldn't have just left it in some audio voice note on a podcast. So, aye. Anyway, that's not. I thought he was joking with that. I never thought that was actually a real. Oh, here's an example of what we did do right. I thought that was just a case of here's a bit of, like, James should have remembered we did have that chat, which is a bit like, okay, fair enough, but it's still quite a poor example.
I mean, basically, let's just do like 6 weeks of non-controversy is my feeling.
Oh no, 6 months. This is the point as well. It was like a few people were saying to me about, well, James isn't great with confrontation. And I'm like, neither am I. Like, I've fucking done hundreds and hundreds of hours of this. I'm not looking for a fight. You're right. It's just something I have an opinion on. And you're going to have to...
But also it's true that I didn't have a dog in that race, really. Or if I did, I hadn't really thought about the whole of it. And I didn't even necessarily want to think about the whole of it. I'm just fucking literally yesterday sat on my couch reading Metal Hammer like a fucking fan, you know? So it's just like...
And long may that continue, mate. You enjoy yourself. That's what you do. Look, there's going to be two ways you're going to look at that whole 4.5 hours conversation, and your takeaway to be, you're going to be like, in that scene, in that industry, and you're going to go, there was a bad man on a podcast said nasty things about us, stamp your feet for a wee bit, and then get on with your life the way it was. Are you going to go, you know what, I don't agree with everything that Gav says, but from the reaction, fuck Gav. But for the reaction for just online, there is clearly some sort of indifference towards these outlets now, and the wall-to-wall positivity, which I feel like I don't think that's a subjective take anymore. I think that, like, if you get every single fucking record ever reviewed, it's 4 out of 5, it kind of is what it is. The facts are there. you've lost, I know, a sense of anyone taking real note of what's going on. If you say, right, okay, well, what can we do? The next time a festival collapses, how about we just try and tell the few thousand fans that are sitting there wondering if we get their ticket money back? What if we try? What if we get about 2 hours to it and see if we can actually get something that we can offer up? Then great. But if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. And I don't think it should affect any of the Damnation's coverage. When I say coverage as well, Kerrang is the only major outlet that covers Damnation in the sense of actual band announcements up to the point in the festival and then covers it. Metal Hammer has been another big publication. They cover it. They cover the live thing. I don't remember it. I don't think in years we've had anything from Metal Hammer to say, oh, here's what the band's produced. So if that changes and it's like Kerrang are now like, oh, well, that's it, we're not going to do the next band announcement for Damnation, or Metal Hammer say, we're not sending reviews to it. Well, I suppose that's everything that's the worst case example then, isn't it? Because it's got nothing to do with me or Damnation. Yeah, I should legitimately want to cover that because it's a legitimate event to cover. Or don't, because it's not. If you're doing it for me for a favour or charity, I wasn't asking for your favourite charity to start with, so I good, okay, fine, I accept that. So it's like, no, I'm not particularly worried one way or the other. I'd rather have the honest conversation and sit here and play my part if it's not fucking crystal clear at this point. I don't want a part to be in this industry the way this industry is. I don't want to go to your award shows. I don't want to nominate Damnation for awards. I don't want your buy-on bands on my festival. I don't want to come to your meet and greets and pat each other on the back and tell everybody, agents and managers, how fucking great they are. Either you think that Damnation is a legitimate thing for your band, or legitimate for your award ceremony, or legitimate for your press, and then great, I'm involved and I'll be there when I'm need to be there. But if it's all this, like, how can we make money at each other and hand out wee daft awards and hand out wee fucking slaps in the back, I'm not here for it at all, and likely never will be.
Come to me, I'm here for it.
James is here for all of it. He'll buy as many tables as are there for it. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out in the future. So I'm glad we've done them, basically, is my point. I think it was an important conversation. It was a healthy conversation. People enjoyed listening to them, which is the most important thing for a fucking podcast. Delighted we've done them.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this week we haven't done a weekly waffle for a couple of weeks. There's a bunch of stuff that we've both been up to that's relevant to the podcast that we want to talk about. And there's a load of questions, some geeky questions. I keep getting, I don't know if you noticed, Gav, more geeky questions in there. So,
do you know, actually, because I've had a bit of a mad day. It was everyone's off, so I was at the swimming and with the kids, and then I was at the cinema afterwards. So I actually got a quick scan of the plan about 40 minutes before we were due to start, and I still had shit to put together for myself. There's stuff on here about, like, I wonder what he means by that. Like, this is James's episode. I'm gonna, I wonder what he, like. Mate,
well, I put it together and I was like, for fuck's sake, I literally have not said anything for 2 weeks. So I'm here to talk.
You've got something that's actually live pod shows at Trees and ATG noted here. And I'm like, oh, well, I wonder if I'm doing a live pod at Trees and ATG, basically. So, James, have at it. Tell me all about your waffle and what's happening in my life.
Well, first of all, the most important part, the band booking update. So, 13th of February, mate, I finished the Arctangent lineup for this year. 100% full confirmations, every single slot. All done. 17 bands will be announced, I think, next week. So, that feels good. It feels the final. Often you have. You can't have all your announcements good. Sometimes they're stronger than others, but it feels like these last 17 is fucking going to make some people really, really happy. There's three reformed bands on this Arctangent announcement that I'm very excited for. If anyone can guess all three, they win £1 million and a ticket for life to the festivals. Although you don't need a ticket for life, you got £1 million. You get £1 million.
Okay.
It's a good announcement, a really, really strong announcement. And ticket sales remain absolutely, utterly fucking unrealistic. We keep thinking Simon's fucked up the data somehow. The sales can't be that. So has he double counted it? So ATG is just fucking on fire. Trees. So as of this weekend, the final offers have gone out for Trees. You can expect an announcement I hope, the first week of March. There's some big surprises on there, and tickets aren't as mad as ATG, but it's our best year yet. It's our best year yet. I mean, next year's 20 years of trees, and this is our best year yet. So fucking just really happy, really happy. And I feel like I've done my, it's like the band booking is a long old slog. And you get what you had last week, where you go all the way to the finishing line and then it falls apart and you go back to the fucking start. And I feel like it started for me in March, April, nearly a year ago, and particularly in September, full on. So just to be at the end of it is nice. Feels good.
Fantastic. So, and is the trees third headliner? Does that look like it's going to go over the line as well? Then you like all the big dogs are all where they need to be.
Yeah, I don't know if that will. I don't know what we're going to announce yet in March, and what. There's a bunch of stuff in the background, which I will talk about, but I can't talk about now. Hopefully it'll be out then. So it's good. It's good. People will be excited. I feel like the trees lineup this year is really all the way down, like super strong, all the way to the bottom. So I'm feeling like it's going to be a good year. So yeah, but following on from this, I have this thing. I've got a major problem, I think, at the moment, or a minor problem, or a medium problem, but it feels major in the sheer number of agent contacts that I have. And so there's like 150 agents, and they're all submitting bands for trees and ATG, some of them via email, some of them via phone. And obviously it's not my full job, band booking. There's loads of stuff at the festivals that I'm doing that isn't that. And it's just me sat in an office. So what happened was went to Damnation, and around Damnation and the podcast tour and my holiday, there was kind of a lot of emails coming in. So I had this folder which was like, in my emails, somewhere to dump the emails, like you must go back to this folder because these bands you need to look at. And I started dumping emails in there. And then this weekend I was like, I've really got to fucking go back to that fucking thing and like finish the last 30 sort of slots at trees. And I went in there and there's 451 emails, right? 451. And, it's some people are offering you one band, some people are offering you 20 bands. So conservatively, it's more than 1,000 bands, right? In the last 3 months, mostly for trees, some for ATG, I've been offered over 1,000 bands. And I don't know quite how to explain how that makes me feel, but it's fucking stressful. And I feel like people are on my case. Had a text message today from an agent that I really like, me and you both know well, being like, why are you ignoring me? What have we got a problem? And I'm like, I'm being barraged. And I don't know what to fucking do with it. Like, I'm like, well, I've got 25 slots left, and you got fucking 1,000 bands, way more than 1,000 bands. And like, who can even process or listen to 1,000 bands in a weekend or 3 months? It's fucking bullshit. So I'm like, this is fucking mad. And it's starting to piss me off. And over the last few months, I've been like, I fucking had enough of this. I don't actually know how to deal with it. But I think I've just found a way. And the answer is technology. And I don't mean AI, but me and Mitch, and we're going to talk about this in the future on a future podcast, but led by Mitch, but with my input, we're going to make those 451 emails just be way simpler. And like, what information are we actually receiving here? Which bookings do we actually want to make? Because I'm like sitting there on Friday night this week being like, there's 451 emails. Where do I even start? What the fuck? Where the fuck do I start?
And James, you're not even putting into... So let's say you've not replied to those 415 emails, which sounds like the assumptions I'm making here. Then you get the agents that almost are like robotic. I'll just be 4 days later, just checking in on this. come back. And sometimes it's not even really for you, or it's no trees or art tangent. It's more like just a general. Like I had one. I was a French or Belgian agent, and they sent us a band with a full conversation about it, and it just looked like really interesting the band, but just no worth the money it's going to take to get them out of UK. And then like a month later, hi, just offering you this band, exact same band, and see if you don't go back to him and say, we've had this conversation. In a week's time, he's going to send them and say, are you interested in this band, Gavin? Could you reply this band? Like, we had the fucking conversation. So, you're talking about 415 emails to get back to you, but those 415 emails, whether you respond to them or not, can spawn another 415 emails pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of it's spam, isn't it? Because they're sending it to everyone. But there's a lot of specific stuff, like this act would be, what did you call the act? The damnation generic act that you always...
Butcher Killer.
Yeah. Butcher Killer would be perfect for this slot on the Forest stage. Why are you not coming back to me? And it's just relentless. And like, I find it quite stressful because I desperately don't want to miss the next Creeper, the next Nothing But Thieves, the next Idols. I want to be there for that. And so I listened to loads of emails, loads of bands this week, and there's some fucking amazing stuff I listened to where I'm like, oh my God, this is really fucking great. And the agent's giving you the like, this band are doing this and they're going to go here and they're going to be the next, whatever. We get a lot of that trees, probably less so ATG or Damnation, but you get this like pitch where it's like they're on a fucking, they're on the rocket ship. But you're listening and you're like, fuck, this is actually really good. So then you're like, oh, maybe it's not all bullshit. But how are you sifting through the 451? I mean, I could have booked the trees lineup this weekend twice. I don't mean the headline. I don't mean the top 15 bands.
The slots.
But everything below the top 15 or 20, I could have just booked it twice. And like, what's the right answer? There is no right answer. It's fucking mental.
So, what are you actually doing with Mitch to streamline it? I mean, how are you extrapolating the information you need and putting that into somewhere that you can make it more streamlined?
Well, look, he's told me don't say too much because we will talk about it. But basically, we are building a thing at the moment which is going to at least make those 451 emails mean that I don't ever have to look at an email. At least the information is in a place where you can see it, and you can search by agency or agent or fucking Spotify streams or Bristol venues and just have a better idea of what the fuck's going on. Because I'm totally overwhelmed by it.
It sounds like it's not getting streamlined at all. In fact, it's getting padded out and booked up, but Mitch is taking all but Mitch is taking all the work. Like, here's an email, right, that we could say no to in 30 seconds, or you could do in 30 minutes and get all this data, and then I can look at it in 3 weeks time and go,
it's not that.
Mitch, not interested at all, after he just gave you agency, genre, Spotify streams, where they played in Bristol. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sounds amazing if you have a Mitch to do that, but it doesn't sound like you're streamlining. You're not streamlining it at all, tell the truth.
It's going to be streamlined. I'm going to tell, when I come back and tell you what it is, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is amazing. But and also, I just don't know, because at the end of this...
Wait a minute, when this is streamlined, can any of the bands that have like Damnation relevant, can they streamline them with me as well? So I can have all this data just sitting in a spreadsheet for me also, because it sounds fucking excellent.
That can be done. But I feel like at the end of this, the problem is, so I've sent out the last offers for trees, and all you've got at the end of that is a load of pissed off agents who are like, why did you never come back to me on this? And it's like, and the weird thing is, they all think that there's only 10 agents trying to book trees. If you're a big agent, you think the world is just here. It's just this little fucking thing. But it's not like that. And actually, what I've seen as agents get more successful, they invest less time in new talent, and I can understand that. Like if you've got the next, if you're starting with Arctic Monkeys and they start to blow up, you put all your time into Arctic Monkeys, and you stop looking for the next Arctic Monkeys. So you then, if you're me, you've then still got to service the original agents, but you've got to service the new agents that are coming through. And there's loads of great ones that are finding the best rock bands out there. I mean, a lot of this conversation is not really relevant to ATG because I know who I want to book for ATG and I just book it. But at Trees, it's so new. There's so much new shit coming through. Anyway, I just wanted to vent. I feel like you've been venting for weeks now.
You're like, no, this is my podcast too, and I'm going to shout about agents. I mean, Damnation is a bit like Art Tangent by the time. Although, to be fair, more recently there has been a bit of excitement about, okay, here's a band. It don't even need to be new, but may never played the UK before, but it would be exciting to have them here and do that. The good example of how there's never, ever a real, as you say, there's no proper way of doing it, because sometimes things just work into it, and it's the nicest. The only time I've had this conversation really with an agent is the nicest man in the world, James Spence, former a guest of this podcast, and he's about like, Gav, when I suggest these to you, you say, oh, it should be a wee bit earlier in the year because that's the slots I'm looking at that point. And then when I come in earlier, you go, I'm not looking at those slots yet. So it's like, and then when he said it to me, it made total sense, because at that time when I'm being as honest as I could be, like, oh, that's no, I'm trying to get headliners at the minute, so I'm not looking at those slots. Yeah. You need to come at these this thing. And then when he comes in earlier the time, I've said that to suggest that, I'm saying something completely different. And he's a bit like, so which one is it? So am I too early or too late? Because the way you're saying it is, and you're like, there probably isn't a too early or too late. It's a bit like, do you have something that captures, like, if you come and you just go, right, okay, that band is, I don't know, fucking Obituary. There you go. Is there a too early or too late? No, you're going to do whatever you can do to get that band onto your bill. But being honest, you're not going to do that for the same, a band's name you barely know, or a band that you like, but I've played 4 times before. So everything's in its own wee weird sliding scale, and there's no real reason or rhyme to it, to be honest.
No. And they all want, and people want an explanation. Agents want to know, why don't you want that act? It's like,
which is the thing about my other thing is I don't like to leave anyone on, as the kids would say, on red, like not replying to an email. But that's its own swamp. Because
I've never noticed you have a problem with that. It's weird.
You just need a wee taste of your own medicine is what you need. Right? But you go back to the booking agencies for Europe where you don't really work with that often, and you just want to be polite enough to say, look, that's not going to work. Because sometimes it's not even fucking relevant. It's like a band, you're like, well, I'm not booking fucking thrash band for the 80s for, I don't know, Belgium that no one's ever heard of, and they're just trying to do some sort of reformation tour. And it's talking about, why is that? I think he'd be great for Damnation. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. Let's jump on the phone, have an hour-long conversation about it. The answer's still going to be no at the end anyway. So, I share your pain. This is a very niche problem to us too. I mean,
yeah, well, that's the podcast there, isn't it? So look, in conclusion, the sun is starting to shine. The fucking summer is coming. Let's fucking go. I'm ready now. Let's do this. And on that note, Gav, as you noted in my notes, was the podcast live at Trees in ATG. So I feel like we owe it to the audience to do this conversation in front of them, because we haven't talked about it in private. It
was good because when I saw it, I was like, I should really get a phone call and say what we're about to say. And I thought, fuck it, let's just do it. Let's tell me, because right now you could say you've had the discussion with both parties at your festivals, and they're like, "No, we're not going to use up the slot, the time, the skills of your staff." Or you could be like, "By the way, we're booked in 2 big stages," or it could be anywhere in between. So I'm a bit like, "Tell me, James, what does my future hold?"
I mean, because there's been a bit of chat on the socials, hasn't there? And I think you said we don't know if we're going to do it, and a few people were a bit outraged. I mean, from our end, people have said to me, look, at the end of the day, like people that run the festivals, you're giving the audience a chance to actually see one of the people who runs the festivals and books all the bands talk during the festival. It's like a unique thing that clearly people love because they pack it out. So if you're making a Trees or Arctangent decision, if you put your Trees hat on and take your podcast hat off, and you haven't got a Trees hat, but if I put my Trees hat on, it's a no-brainer, total no-brainer. It's like, why wouldn't you do it? It's like 100% you should do it. So
Did they ever come to you and say, make sure, like, no, you should really pay Gav, though? You should. Did they ever say that? You know what? Because we've looked at the date and the tent's always full. We should really give Gav some fucking money. Because...
We can. That sounds like a Sarah conversation, but we can. So that's it for me. I'm like, you should do it. I feel like if I was, although at ATG I regretted it because it's early in the morning and it did really fucking ruin our Friday night last year. But I think, broadly speaking, if I was walking around one of the festivals and we weren't doing it, I would feel like that was a mistake. Having said that, I feel like you have a reason. Do you feel that maybe we shouldn't do it? We shouldn't overdo it or whatever. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's not too deep though. It's not like I'm a bit like, there is what we've talked about privately is we probably wouldn't do live shows in 2026, even despite the success of the Manchester show in particular, and see if we can keep this podcast going, the momentum it's going, and then try and go big for a run of 4 or 5 dates in 2027 and make every show like the Manchester show. Like, can we go out with this podcast and do 350 people to fucking 400 people per night in cities, not just one Christmas special in Manchester, which is quite exciting because it's about like you're really leveling up, you're moving on to the next space for the podcast. So then you've got that bit. The business mind, you would probably like, well, you don't overexpose yourself. You probably get a manager that we don't have out there going, well, why would you go and give yourself away for free? Both is give yourselves away free to Trees, Art Tangent, or Damnation if you're doing it at Damnation, which might be a point you could take on board. But then we always see a spike in listenership after both events because there is a lot of people who might never ever go and see us on tour, never want to just leave on a Tuesday or fucking Wednesday night to go to a gig, who will wander across to a tent and check you out at one of the festivals. So I can definitely see the benefit for that. And
it's not like a band, is it? So like if you see a band play their new album and you know if you go and see them 3 months later they're going to play their new album again. I don't mean we're better than a band, but it was just different. You know it won't be the same. We won't talk about any of the same stuff. So it's not... Maybe I should have talked to you in private on this.
No, listen, I'm with it, but I'm talking through it as I'm thinking about it. And it's like, and that when I said, when somebody said, but make sure you don't clash with the bands at Art Tangent this year, I commented that. It says, look, we've not decided what we're going to do. And it was, people were genuinely like, don't even fucking dare. Like,
yeah, your mate Graham was pretty upset.
I mean, McGee, I could barely talk him into listening to the podcast at the start. And he's like, I'm going to be angry if you don't go. Fucking the boys for Warm Out. Like, we're finally going to be at Art Tangent. I mean, we've flown from Dublin to Manchester to watch you guys, and we're finally going to be at Art Tangent, and you're not going to walk on the stage because you've got a hangover, and it's not good enough. And there's a couple of European fans that have come to their first ever Art Tangent, like, they just expect to see two promoters, one pod there too. So there was a bit like, right, okay, well, ultimately, I'll do as I'm told. Right, you know, but if you get people there that are saying, look, we're going to be there and we want to see you on stage, I love doing it. It's just, that Saturday morning's a struggle. You get
when me and you are running around a field having a lovely time, I think we would think, fuck, we should have just fucking done
okay.
it.
So what you telling me here, James? He's telling me we're doing both of them. Is that what's happening?
I'd say let's do we do Saturday morning at Arctangent, potentially in the bigger tent, just to.
That's the thing is my ego. I don't need. I'm not going to the sort of humble brag bullshit or like that. But I know what we've seen now, and I don't need a tent to be packed to the rafters for my ego to let me go on stage or for my confidence. Like, I'm happy to go out to a bigger stage where everyone is comfortable and you can come in with your chair and lie down. That idea of people getting up at that time on a Saturday morning and not getting into the tent at Art Tangent is just like, that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, I know we never thought we were going to fill that tent, but so what? We're going to a bigger tent and it's half full. So what? Everybody gets in and they're comfortable.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably do Yokai then at Arctangent. There's been some chat about the Forest, which is definitely not on the table for me. It's like, it's just, we stay, the word stage has actually changed this year, so it's a bigger stage. We'll stay in there, see how it goes. I'm not fucking going to the forest. I feel like I'll be stood waiting to go on thinking, we've got too big for our boots.
But I feel like the forest, I know that it takes the 3,000, I know it keeps going up, that's fucking huge, right? But the actual front section, where you just have that, if you don't even think about when you're up to that first like step up in the bins and then the bar and all that nonsense, that front section, you put 600 people in there with camp chairs, you would be okay. Whether you can get 600 people from trees to go and do that, it's another thing. But if 100 people show up, I get what you mean. It's going to look like ladder pickles and we're just sitting on the stage.
And it feels like big time in. I don't want a big time. So basically, let's pack the new word stage this year. And also people are like, yeah, you just do the morning at Trees so you're not clashing bands. It's like, fuck you. The morning Arctangent's horrific. I'm not doing the morning at Trees as well. It's in the afternoon. And
Arctangent that's the difference again with the Trees thing. There's audience, there's a huge chunk. It's the biggest festival of all three by a considerable distance. There's an audience there that don't give a shit what we've got to say. Don't give a shit about this podcast. And for us, bands that we have almost no overlap with our fan bases. And that's fine. It's almost impossible to do that Arctangent or Damnation with the kind of bands of it. I mean, like putting to play yourself against Psychonaut or Dimscûa or like it just wouldn't make any sense. It just would go against everything the podcast's about. Whereas I don't know, some of these massive bands that are playing the main stage at Trees, like whether they get the support of two promoters, one pod, makes no difference to their careers. Whereas going up against Sugar Horse last year, I know we done it in a sort of jovial joke. It was never really that comfortable for me. Kind of went against what we'll try to do.
So is that? I mean, I've bullied you into that somewhat, which it's nice to have the boot on the other foot for a change. Great. Okay. Done. Lovely. So
okay, there you go. There's the exclusive. I didn't know we were doing that. So both shows, both will be different, obviously. But those shows are really just standalone fucking episodes because you need to build together a plan for that. The reason why we do it so late at Tangent is because we want to talk about everything that's happened up to that point of Damnation. At Tangent, which leaves you in a weird spot because in a weird way you're looking for shit to go wrong. So you've got a good story to tell, but you don't want shit going wrong at your festival.
Yeah, I'm always slightly disappointed when it's like totally. I don't know which one it was this year. Was it? I don't know. Well, one of them was like just like fucking nothing's happened. What are we going to talk about?
I give it Tangent end up too smooth. At least Trees, you had people chasing pigs and fucking swans.
What? No, but also both of them was the Theo thing happened after Arctangent, and at Trees, the mad ambulance life-saving helicopter thing happened after the podcast. So both the big stories of the festivals happened after the podcast.
They make me smile as well. Just the Finding Theo was such a fucking great tale, man. What a great tale! And it was all well known for that. There was nothing to get the guy recovered for the ambulance things as well. So all good. Yeah,
good. So just to round out my weekly waffle, I did tell you this would take a while. So I feel like I spend a lot of time on the podcast talking about albums that are coming in the future. And I want to try and talk a bit more about stuff that's actually happened. So after I've spent some time with it, and I think this year has been it's gone off to a great start. So just very quickly, here's some albums that you should give some time to. Two bands playing ATG, Zoo and Ronka. Both albums are fucking great. Damnation fans or heavy music fans should check out The Ruins of Beaver new album. Brilliant. Shout out to Blanket, Mole and Joyce Manor. All those albums are really fucking good. If you know those bands already and you haven't listened to the new albums, you should. I feel like 2026 is probably going to kick the ass of 2025. How it started off, it's a strong year, and we've announced a bunch of shows in Bristol as well, which is La Dispute at Trinity on June the 15th and Calva Louise at Rough Trade on the 26th of April. And there's shows coming up from Bat Sabbath, Nordic Giants, Witch Fever, Grade 2 and the Dirty Nil. So I feel like I've been talking too long, so I'm going quick now. Basically, there's a fucking ton of music coming to Bristol. If anyone's interested, go and listen. I'm going to pick one album. Go and listen to the new album from Mull, because it's fucking amazing.
That's what a good shoot. I tell you, 2026. I mean, I kind of, I don't know if I was lying to you, James. Somebody said I was lying to you, but I was definitely overplaying my hand a wee bit with how prepared I was for the 2025 album review list. That really wasn't as far as long as I was trying to tell myself it was. So, with that, mate, I don't know if I just get a real, I don't know if there's a spark at the start of the year. You're a bit like, you're excited about the news. So, I have gone out my way not to listen to something I want to listen to listen to something that's been brand new put out. And the 3 albums I listened to were Pucifer, Converge, which just out, and Mull. And I'm forcing myself to make sure that it's more than several listens, so it's not just a case of one and done, which I can be guilty of as well if it's not really grabbed my attention. The Mull one was a great example because it's just so fucking different from the previous release. They have it, it's like, I don't know, there's so much more melody and clean vocals.
Way
and
more,
guests. And I'm going back to that one each time, getting something more out of it, so I can see that being. I mean, at the minute, by default, all 3 of these are in my top 10 of the year because there's only 3 I've heard. But that one's like, that's a strong. Pucifer, I'm not sure yet because I never even gave the last album any. I mean, I think I gave one list. I was like, this is just fucking nonsense. This one, I'm a bit like, you get moments in it, I feel like you're getting that good old, when they do it right, I don't know, because they've got that weird, it's difficult to describe Pucifer. They're somewhere between a Perfect Circle and Tool, because they have that weird disjointed sound. But when they catch a melody and the two of them get into it together, like The Remedy, or is it The River and stuff like that in previous songs, they're as fucking good as Tool and the Perfect Circle. But then they can get into this sort of, I don't know, disjointed, like it sounds like a B-side of something that's somewhere in between. I'm going to give that album much more attention, and I'm going to come to a conclusion. Is it not very good, or does it have potential to be brilliant? And
I think it lives, that band lives and dies on the melodies. So, but they're not always immediate. So I mean, I'm a lot of listens into Pucifer, and I'm still making my mind up. The first song on the album is fucking brilliant, but it's kind of seeping its way into me, but I really don't know what I think yet.
Aye, so we'll okay. See. I'm trying to be more James Scarlett, but I feel like I can be quite definitive too quickly and be a bit like, you know what? Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to Mars Volta. And
you're
just
going back to Megadeth, mate. Is that what it is?
Is Megadeth from this year?
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I've listened to 4 albums and somehow Megadeth doesn't even make the top 10. What a pish. So, and Converge, my initial reaction to the listen through of Converge was the exact same feeling I had when I heard the first track in Egypt. Sounded quite derivative and not that inspired. It sounded like middle of the road Converge from what I've heard in the years. And I think what made it worse is as soon as the album finished, a new Chat Pile track came on. And I'm not even the biggest Chat Pile fan. And it sounded a fucking million miles better. And then All We Love, We Leave Behind from or by the Converge came on after that. And that sounded 10 times better as well. So who knows? I might be here in 6 months' time saying, oh, I remember when I thought the Converge album wasn't that special. And I really fucking love it. It's my number 3 in the top 10 list so far. But I don't know, just didn't grab me at all. When I think there's a real Converge are one of those bands you're not really allowed to say anything that negative about.
No, I mean it's jarring hearing you saying what you're not allowed to say.
Don't fuck Jesus Christ! Don't do fucking the complaint police come to me. I mean, I fucking love Converge. I mean, I love it. I've got a signed Jane Doe poster in front of me, fucking headlined in my festival. I mean, I absolutely love that band. I'd had them back this year if it was possible. But it's just the truth. It was I don't know. What did you? I mean, I assume you've heard it. Did you think there was anything that was striking from it in the first listen?
Do you know what? I haven't listened to it yet, and the reason for that is because I have this weird way I listen to new albums, and I basically give everything a couple of weeks, and I'm still giving the ones from before a couple of weeks. So like Carnival, really enjoying New Carnival, Pucifer, and a bunch of other stuff. So Converge actually starts for me this week, and I'm gonna fucking go in on it. So I've heard the single. That's it.
Right. What was your opinion of the single? Did you feel that was like, oh, this is a gold star Converge? Or did you have a sort of, again, this is not me saying I didn't like it. I just like, it wasn't knocking me out. Sometimes you hear, like, see when Converge hadn't released anything in a wee while, and then, is it the final teardrop or the last teardrop? Whatever? When I heard that one, I was like, holy shit. Like, not only is this unbelievably Converge, this is one of the best tracks I've done. I absolutely fucking love it. That's not what we got for the new stuff.
No, but I think what I was trying to say at the start of this was I'm always talking about albums in the future or the current. And what I'm going to try and do is talk about stuff that I've actually got a fucking opinion on. So like 3 weeks ago, I ended up defending Megadeth before I'd even fucking properly got in on it. And it's not in my list now, is it? I'm not giving you chats about Megadeth. So I'm like, I don't want to commit to even the single on Converge. I will tell you what I think in 2 weeks' time. And I'll be gutted if it's not brilliant. I mean, they're always brilliant.
I mean, I suppose even substandard Converge is better than 90% of the music ever released by anyone, is that? I mean, I suppose I'm only holding them against their own standards, not the standards of another hardcore band. And with Megadeth, see, you've got that situation where you don't put that much, I don't know, weight behind the lyrical content, and then maybe I put too much weight behind the lyrical content, and then you've got someone on a podcast with you pointing out, does it make it worse? Do you hear it more when you're somebody's like, did you hear like, push me, I push you back? Do you hear it when you come back?
Look, I did a couple of weeks with that album. It's not very good. It's better than their worst albums. That they've gone a lot lower than that. It's like competent and okay, I think. And there's some stuff which is weirdly enjoyable, but you feel like you shouldn't be enjoying it. But I'm not. I definitely do not want to be the defense for fucking Megadeth. So
okay,
look, to round out my weekly waffle, the fact of the week is, so I've got a really good fact of the week coming at the end, later on in this podcast. But my fact of the week is that, please tell me we've not done this before. The top 5 episodes ever listened to.
You know what? Well, like episode 52, we would have said, "Oh, here's the top." But right. I mean, but we're at 108 or 9 now, so even that is a fresh start.
No. Look, Shifty, you can either cut this and make me look really professional, or just leave it in. My fact of the week is going to come later because there's a question. I've got a really good fact. So,
yeah. Also, even though how were you going to try and do those metrics anyway? Because there's 3 quite distinct things. You've got to download.
I've just got downloads.
But the problem as well with that is we tried the Spotify route and we uploaded for 5 episodes onto Spotify. And as soon as the second that happened, we never realised your downloads go directly to Spotify and they don't go to that metric. So some of the most successful episodes we've ever had, they might have a couple of thousand listeners short of what they're about. So, and then you add in the YouTube. I mean, how many people watched it? Was it 12 or 13?
So it's a terrible fact of the week. This is fucking awful.
No fact. It was going to be an utter mishmash.
I'm glad I looked it up, made the notes, and then no one will ever know. Okay. I've got a great fact later, though. So, Gav, tell me about your last 4 weeks.
No, I mean, I'm not going to go no deep dive into too much of that. I mean, to be honest, see, between episode 1 of the press thing to episode 2 of the press thing, my entire week was just fucking, I mean, it was like 4 pages of notes that we never got to with Samco. It just got to the point I didn't want to be like a pile-on, so I was like, I never done anything that week except go through the archives of music press. So I'll take you up to date to this week, which was Friday. Went to see Deftones at the Hydro, sold out in a day. Deftones, the band that we all know and love, and I don't know, I've seen them 15, 20 times before. I've seen Deftones at their absolute best, and I've seen Deftones at festival sites where Chino seems drunk and disinterested, and it's a bit pish, and everything in between. See, I feel like I've seen every version of a Deftones show in all different settings, and they're always band I'm keen to go back and see. See them up there on that stage, the biggest Scottish show they've ever done, 14,000 people, sold out in a day, huge production. And then coming and so heavily skewing it to their brand new music, 7 tracks for private music. You're like, fucking fair play to you guys, know what I mean? It's like everyone knows that you've got this Colin, Limp Bizkit, System of a Down, all these bands all just come in and just living off what they've done 20, 25 years ago, which is fine. I've got no issue with that whatsoever. If I could go and see System of a Down, I'd go and listen to them doing all that music that they recorded 25 years ago. But for Deftones to be there in the biggest stage, and like, we're not really going to bother with Elite or Have You Seen the Butcher or fucking Knife Party. I mean, Passenger. I mean, so many fucking absolute. I mean, you could definitely have done a Deftones set list that would have blown you away, that featured nothing of what they'd done. And there's just something about that. It's like, we're watching a band here at the absolute most, the peak of their popularity, doing music that they've released 6 months ago. This is not a, let's play off nostalgia. This is nothing, it just fucking, it was great to see. I mean, don't get me wrong.
The crowd were into that.
The crowd was into the whole show, but I suppose more surprisingly because you notice that different, that whatever that TikTok influence is, you have 18-year-old or young men and women in the crowd enthusiastic about it. You're a bit like, these are people that haven't seen Deftones before, thereafter. And then the point again, maybe all they want is in your stuff. But they finished the set with 7 words and it went off. I mean, it went off like people knew exactly what 7 words were. I mean, that's fucking for adrenaline. It was at 90-somethings. So they've obviously, the new music fans have come in, they've invested in it, and they've been like, right, okay, this is not going to be a wee fad. This is a band we are up for, and we're going to go for it. I had a great night. It was one of those, I suppose you can get these guys, you read it, it's like, oh, I like this band when we're playing the Cat House and now they're big and I don't like these arenas. That, yeah, negative. I never felt that there at all. I was like, fucking hell, well done you guys not only getting to this point and have this opportunity to go and do it again at this scale, but you're even doing it off. I mean, imagine, put that in the context, a Limp Bizkit or System of a Down coming and doing, System of a Down going to play these stadium shows and giving you 7 tunes off what would be an unreleased album. You'd be like, I don't want any of that bullshit. I mean,
no.
But System of a Down are just not going to the concert. They don't even like each other. They're there for the money. So, I mean, there's no way a Limp Bizkit album. There's just no way. So we're not going to play Nookie. We're not going to play break stuff. We're going to give you 7 tunes off this new album that fucking no one wants to listen to. So I was well chuffed. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Which kind of speaks to the fact that they're like they're not really a new metal band, and they're certainly the arty new metal band, aren't they? They're the it's fucking cool. That's great that they can do whatever they want. I mean, seven new songs. I mean, I remember when Metallica were touring Saint Anger, and they were playing either 1 or 2 songs a night off the new album, and it's like, fucking hell, you're playing for 3.5 hours. It's not really telling us what we want to hear about this album.
People are still writing. Like, why don't I get it? Just give me. I mean, if you're that band, then look, embrace it. You guys wrote those. You guys wrote those tunes. You've got every right to live off them for as long as you want to go out there and make money. Have at it. It was just, I never went to the show thinking like that at all. Not like I couldn't separate Colin and Limp Bizkit and System of a Down that from Deftones. I know that they're musically very different. Linkin Park as well, from that new metal. I always found that a bit weird by the time they were releasing White Pony, that they were still getting referred to as new metal. You're like, the fuck can you listen to Passenger and say, oh, that sounds like a new metal track? It's nothing like that at all. So I knew the difference in the style of bands, but I was still a bit like, oh, here's a band that we were all listening and seen a million times before. Now the TikTok generations came on board and they're massive again. Without thinking, and actual, if this was Korn we were watching, it would not be 7 tracks for their new album. And holding up against a lot of the older material as well. It wasn't like when I went to see fucking Stone Roses and everyone's about you're waiting for 2 or 3 songs and everything in between was just like, aye, right, okay, get to I Want to Be Adored. I mean, that's what I'm here for. It wasn't like that at all. It was like, their new music was people were fucking properly in it as well. So, great gig. Really enjoyed it. I made the joke. It was 4 out of 5. Because I like to make
every
jokes,
time you kick the press, Shifty's got to put some sort of.
No, 4 out of 5. That was a genuine score. Actually, it was coincidentally that was a genuine score. I mean, that's
what everyone says, mate.
That's what everyone says. And we had a question. I would have added, if I had more time to do the planning, I would have added this in. But it was about the UK post-rock band, Yndi Halda, and why does Gav never mention for such a big post-rock fan? Why does he never mention them? I'd like to get his thoughts. My thoughts are they're fucking incredible. I loved Enjoy Eternal Bliss, the opening track, Dash and Blast, absolutely fucking unbelievable bit of post-rock. I saw them at Art Tangent, and it was that in 2015, 16, 17. It was one of those weird slots where you're quite a minimalistic or uplifting post-rock band. You're not going for the big, huge climactic where you don't step in the pedal and you get hit with some maybe Shrill We Lost the T riff. And it was sort of mid-afternoon, and it kind of, and not that I got lost in it, but it wasn't captivating. And then I've never really heard anything. I've never seen them tour. I've never read anything about it. I've never seen anything about it. I don't know if they're still an active band. But it made me think about going back and listening to Enjoy Eternal Bliss. And then I saw that it was released, depends where you go, Discogs says it was released in 2006, Wikipedia says it was released in 2007. I'm like, that'd be 20 years. 20 years since that record. So if you are in Yndi Halda, or you know people are in Yndi Halda, and you know what the fucking situation is, this is an open invitation to come and do that set at Damnation. I would fucking love it. So that's how I feel about that band for the person that asked. And sorry, I don't have a name in front of me. I just recall that we never got to it in a previous episode. So that's what I've got to say about that.
Fuck yeah. That's going to happen. The power.
You don't even,
the power.
They could be 4 or 5 guys. I don't even know who's in the band. They could be 4 or 5 guys or women, and they're just a bit like, no, fuck that, we fell with each other 10 years ago and we'll never be on a stage together. Or maybe they're sitting there quietly going, and we're not playing again until we get a shout out for a fucking podcast and we come and doing that. So, aye, that's my views on that. I did make a quick note about a Take That documentary, but I'm a bit like, you know what? Why don't we just get into the questions?
Yeah, I'll watch it and then we'll talk about it next week. So we got to do Patreon, right?
Yes. Oh, that's right. The reason I'm leaving like, oh, I'm due up next is because you've been stung again, which I'm fucking delighted. Let's keep this energy up, people.
So Christopher Kelly says, in keeping with recent podcast themes and being an avid autograph collector, I'd love it if James could dig out a random copy of Kerrang, sign it and send it to me. But on top of that, if he could get your best podcast guest yet, the director of Vibes himself, Rob Scarlett, to sign it too, I'd be much appreciated. Okay.
What have you got to say about that? What have you got to say about that?
So, Christopher, it's a wild request. I don't own any copies of Kerrang. So you got 2 choices, because I don't keep my magazines. I mean, I fucking did when I was fucking 19. I've got some magazines here, Metal Hammer. If you would like me to send you Metal Hammer, then I will. If you want to wait until the next print edition of Kerrang comes out, which it will be coming around soonish, I'd imagine, then I'll do that. So whatever you want. And also, me and Rob do not live in the same city, so if you want to wait for Rob's fucking... I mean, I wouldn't wait for the director of Vibe signature, but if that is what you want to do, basically, Get in contact, tell me what you want. If you want a signed copy of Metal Hammer this week, I'll give you one. What a weird conversation to be having.
Absolutely, Chris. I'm loving this though. I mean, not just the fact that you're getting asked to do shit, but I mean, if you're into collecting old magazines and want it signed by James and his brother, have at it. Absolutely have at it. I would suggest, Chris, what you do is you wait to have a mixed production meeting for Art Tangent and go for all the champions. Get Sarah's signature on there. Simon gets Simon's signature on there. Get the whole fucking team. Get Mitch involved. He can streamline it. The whole fucking thing can get sorted. So, yes, let's see what lucky sub this week. We're going to go with David Moore. David Moore, you're this week's super sub from the Jug of Joy. Let's see if we go with hat trick. Let's hope you're a big Art Tangent or 2000 Trees fan and you've got something I mean, I'm still fucking heavily outweighing this fight anyway, so I mean, a few more in James's favour on his column would be absolutely brilliant. And Rob Scarlett, the director of Vibes, can be involved as well. It'd be amazing. If you want to be in this jug of joy, if you want to just support the podcast because you think it'd be the right thing to do, you listen to this all the time thing, I should give you guys a few quid so Gav can drink more pints of Jack Daniels when he's talking to James on a Monday night. Patreon.com/two promoters, one pod. Or if you don't want to pay the VAT to one of these platforms or the 20% fee that we don't see, you can go on our group or messages and we can give you bank details and you can just fire the money straight into your pot. Thank you to everyone who does that.
It does make a difference, right?
Well, 20%
we are doing no, but just in general, anyone. Yes. Like, we are doing this on a Monday night, you know. Gav would rather be watching Take That documentary.
Again.
But, you know, please, it makes a difference. Please support us. Thanks.
Yeah, it does. It does. And talking about people who definitely support us and have done since episode 1, the hero that is Luz fucking Bruce. Now, I gave a shout out last week for the Don't Go Baking My Heart, the vegan bacon barbecue. I saw a few orders going for that. I hope it's great. I can't give you any feedback on it because I haven't tried it. What I have tried and what I'm using quite frequently, different for the sauces, is the seasonings, of which he's got 5 different varieties. There's something about when you're using Luz Brew stuff as well, you know it's all fucking top quality. So I don't know, it's getting everything seasoning, and I don't know what's in it. But I assume it's salt, pepper, and some other else, spice element. And I swear to God, see, for air fryer food, for you making lunches, or a couple of bits of chicken in the air fryer, some chips in the air fryer, you just want to make it no taste bland. Those seasonings, mango and lime, he's everything seasoning. He's got a Nashville one, he's got a pumpkin one, weirdly. He's got a salt and a lemon pepper one. 2 of those seasons I've not tried yet either of these newer ones. They're great. They just take a fucking bland, old, working class lunch and turn it into something a wee bit nicer. If I fire one of these sauces on top, you're fucking laughing if that's an option. So, check those out. As for his sauces, but they don't go baking my heart, and people asking about the vegan ones, he's also got a Buffalo's Bills hot butter buffalo sauce that you can fire onto your grass sandwich as well, and have at it. So, yes, he is the man. Thank you so much for the support, as always, Lou. The fact there's still some 2 promoters, 1 sauce, there's a wee bit of a slap in the face. I thought that I'd sold out. Now the 300 bottles sitting there. James doesn't get his payout until the batch is done, and James likes his payout.
That's
so
true.
If anyone wants to grab that, if you grab another of the seasonings and some vegan stuff, get your 2 promoters, 1 sauce before that's done too. Pod 15 at the checkout, 15% off your order.
Good stuff. And send me some seasonings, Lou. I thought me and Gav got the same boxes. Where's my seasonings?
He knows you put so little effort in these.
I cook. He thinks I don't cook.
Send James some seasonings. No, they're really good. Although I used them at the start the way that you would use a salt and a pepper, and then when you see him doing his home videos, you're just like fucking bottles and bottles of stuff. Kind of like, okay, maybe that's how you're supposed to use them. So, aye, definitely. How are you,
Good
James?
stuff.
Is your bladder holding up?
No.
mate, this is where we are on this podcast. I am reading when you need toilet breaks by how you're moving backwards and forwards in the fucking seat. So, let's get some questions. Been a wee while since we had a Q&A. God knows how long we've been going for. We did manage it through a refill for the drinks. First one, Daniel Singleton. Our good friend Daniel Singleton. Can we get some sort of chat? The ATG Bollock of Billin. Obviously, massive fermenting dregs and Chatfield have massive logos and dominate their days in the poster. Then the whole Chelsea Wolf Igor situation, and finally, Moraja are headlining Yokai, but have 4 bands before them. Oh, look what you've created. Look what we've created.
It's great, isn't it? I love it.
People usually see these posters and go, okay, it's logos in a poster. Now they want a fucking explanation for it all.
Which is brilliant. It's not actually been that bad. So I'll go through these. So look, Massive Fermenting Dregs have done a shit ton of tickets recently in the UK. They have a really long band name, and the logo isn't stacked. It's just in a long fucking line. And when they came in, to the poster, it was like the perfect time to just be like, shit, there's only one way of fitting them in. Give them their own line. Having said that, there's 17 more bands coming, so I don't think they'll have their own line on the next version. With Chatpile, I mean, I think Rob did a really good job here because it's a ridiculous logo, even in the world of like death metal and black metal logos. Chatpile takes the biscuit for being so short and fat. Anything square or round, like we've had this with Hylung, anything square or round, it's just fucking nightmare to fit on a poster because everyone else is long or it doesn't fit. So Rob made it work, and when he did it, I was like, okay, that looks as good as it's going to. Let's see what the agent's saying. No one complained. Because it's usually like, here's line 2, here's line 3. But this is a band that's on line 2 and line 3. I mean, anyone at home should probably look at the poster. But so that's a weird one. Chelsea Wolf and Igor situation, as Daniel puts it, it wasn't really a situation. I can't really do this at Trees, but at ATG with the headliners, I try to leave it really ambiguous and open about who will be on the top line, what even is a headliner, co-headliner. So I think it's fair to say that Igor weren't massively happy with the previous version of the artwork, which wasn't day splits. So when we went to day splits, this was the way to do it, and everyone was happy. Chelsea Wolf was happy, Igor was happy, so that's good. And Maruja, so what Daniel says is, Maruja are headlining Yokai, which for anyone who doesn't know is the second stage, but they have 4 bands before them on the poster. Now that is a very download way to look at a poster. You know, like at download, I don't know this, but I think they send their offers like, you are headlining the 4th stage, and that means you will have a logo in this part of the poster, and you are 3rd on the 3rd stage, and this means you'll be here. You don't get that out of Tangent. It's basically like and you don't get that out of Damnation or Trees. It's just like you put the poster in the right order, which is based broadly on how big the bands are, and it all works. So Maruja, I think, are in the right place. So, yeah, it's no issue. So, look, it is true to say that some agents are difficult and some agents are not difficult. And if you're an agent listening, being difficult helps you because...
Don't fucking say that. What the hell? Wait, how many drinks did you have in your fucking... Oh, Jesus Christ over here. That is not true for Damnation. You push me too far with some of the bolly-cabell and stuff. I am not going to react kindly to it.
It's probably true. That is probably true.
That is not. It's definitely true. I mean, people that try to make your life difficult and then cause you problems with other agencies and that just is not called for. I take a very dim view of that. So, aye. Don't get me wrong. Fight your case. Everybody, I also appreciate agents really having their bands back and don't always get it right. Somebody's be like, aye, you're totally right, actually. More often than not, that's not the case, but aye. If you get enough agents that are all trying to be difficult, there is no solution because we've done all this before. The arguments are all doing it are all cherry picked for their band, and the person who's arguing in the other case is cherry picked for their band, and both of them, they want you to fight their case for them at the other agency, which is just a fucking headache and never pleases anyone.
No, agreed.
Luke Parkinson, first aid might be an interesting topic. Is it, Luke? Is it? Just how common are injuries in mosh pits and other unexpected common injuries issues at festivals do you have to warn local hospitals to expect an influx? Fuck's sake, if I had to start phoning local hospitals, I think I would stop doing it, mate. Oh, by the way, I'm going to end a few people's fucking careers here. No, I don't fucking phone local hospitals. Although maybe James does for Trees or festival injuries. James, tell us all.
That's an incredible way to read a question. You went off on one halfway through.
Because
then you came back to the question. Look, okay, so...
To be fair, because a lot of these questions are like, I'm kind of glancing over for the second time. I might have just skim read them before. I was like, fuck, I never responded about phoning local hospitals. It just kind of caught me off, right? So, give it the credit it's due. Look, Parkinson, it's a genuine, legitimate question.
So what he's actually suggesting, which is I think is a good question, he's asking, do you have to warn the local hospitals that there's going to be an influx of people? So, look, here we go. This is my fact of the week. So, in 2025 at 2,000 Trees, there were a total number of patients at the first aid tent of 451. Of those 451 people, there were 26 major injuries, which we'll talk about in a bit. There were 412 minor injuries. 20 people attended hospital. And then 386 people were treated on site and then sent back into the festival for more fun and more injuries. And then there were 43 people that were discharged to welfare. So we've got a first aid team and a welfare team. So that could be like, I've taken too many drugs. I just need somebody to stroke my head. This is not a first aid thing. This is a welfare thing. So those are my facts. So, and last year at Trees, so heat-related medical issues was the main reason that people were coming to first aid. But most of the patients that went to hospital were for musculoskeletal injuries where a fracture could not be ruled out. So I was actually, to get some of this information, I had to read our health and safety report, which I always, as a point of principle, do not do because it is not fun. And I read it today, and it said they're suggesting that we should have an X-ray machine on site. They're like, their recommendations were like X-ray machine because basically you're sending someone to hospital from a festival field because you don't know if they've broken their finger or elbow or whatever. So here's some of the reasons. So I literally went into the report and dug out. I have no idea what the GDPR is here. But
probably quite serious. Just make sure you don't mention anybody in any context, okay? Don't give any details. Don't even fucking reveal the sex. Just say like this was what happened, and they can't be too specific. Don't say something about somebody's pelvis.
I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to use anyone's names. But okay, so here we go. In silent disco, and someone struck him in the face with their arm. Nose began bleeding. Person self-presented to medical tent covered in blood. Was in mosh pit when person was hit with an elbow to the right side of the eyebrow brackets cut. Fallen in mosh pit and damaged his right ankle, stated he heard a pop. Ankle is visibly deformed. Person is presented to welfare feeling faint, dizzy, nauseous, hasn't been right all day, has slept quite a lot, more than he normally does. So basically that's sort of the level of detail that we get. So in conclusion, there isn't an influx of injuries. We get a handful of ambulance trips a year. This was more than most with 20. There's 15,000 people on site. So I don't know what a 15,000 capacity town looks like in their local A&E, but I'm guessing it's more than 20 people. So, and the way this works is that there's a thing called the Purple Guide, which I mentioned before, that is like the event Bible. It tells you how much first aid cover you need, and it includes the need for paramedics, doctors, and ambulances on site. So it's based on your capacity, your injury rate in previous years, the type of event. Luke was asking, about are there common injuries? But basically, I think really, yes, you're going to get the odd elbow in the eye in a mosh pit. And when it's hot, you get people with heat stroke. And when it's wet, you get people that have fucking fallen over more often. And really, the relevant authorities I don't think they really care. When you're sending, they do care, but when you're sending 20 people a year to hospital, it's not a big thing. Like Glastonbury has I hope this is right and not an urban myth, but they have like a maternity fucking unit at Glastonbury. There's like a full hospital. It's like what you would set up in a war zone it's a hospital. Whereas we're a first aid place. And if you need hospital, we have ambulances. and we can get you there. So, look, at the end of the day, if anyone has not heard the Trees debrief episode, you should listen, because we fucking saved, not, I say we, like it was me, but they saved.
You were in the helicopter. Wait, you wouldn't be saying me what the next drink was.
I was actually with you at the time, but they saved that person's life. What a fucking brilliant thing. Okay, so that's a nice geeky answer with a fact of the week.
Yeah, and honestly, that was a lot more interesting than I was expecting.
Mate, you keep saying this. This is the geeky questions.
Maybe, you know what, maybe geeky questions are not bad. There was somebody commented, because I must have said previously, when you said, we could go into an episode about fencing and and security and whatever, I was like, well, let's condense all that down to one episode, and I mean, let's pretend like we've ever been in a pub before. And I get somebody said, don't convince me, don't you kidding me on about hear about fencing? I was like, okay.
There's more going on in everything than you could imagine.
I suppose when you get something like that, I mean, because when this one came up as well, it's like, that reminded me, I'm going to go and check the bill, because I forgot all about the whole three dull facts. So well done, Gavin, after one episode forgetting about the dull facts. I went back and I checked last year for medics at Damnation, £5,699. The thing about that's quite fucking. You're in the middle. You're in Manchester. I mean, you're like, it's not like it's not like you're detached. You're not in a field. You're not fucking away in the Upcote Farm or Farewell Farm. You're like you're in Manchester, where you have almost £6,000.
I mean, that is punchy.
That's in it. That's very punchy.
I mean, I'm talking as someone who spent some time in an ambulance in A&E last year in Manchester at Damnation.
It's like, okay, and like it's the same as security.
So what's that for first aid?
So they set up a big green medic tent just by the entrance, and then they show up and they've got a couple of not ambulances, but they sort of mini ones, almost like a Citroen Berlingo. It's got the bed to get you somewhere safe. They get stretchers and probably get some life-saving shit in there. So, by all means, listen, charge whatever when you need to charge. But I think when I actually dropped like almost £6,000 for somebody ultimately to get you to, I take it will be Manchester's hospital if it's a serious thing, like, by God. And then it reminded me, I was watching Meryl Streep, and somebody was bouncing along beside me, and I don't know what he had, there was a bit in his leather jacket, or probably had fucking some golf spikes or something, and he sliced my finger as he was jumping up and down, and he sliced my finger. And I was like, okay, it was one of these stupid cuts that just doesn't stop bleeding. Like, there's no sore, like you wouldn't even feel it, but it just won't stop bleeding. And Tom Stabler, our show rep, obviously a man who reads the Purple Guide a bit too often, he's like, you need to come to first aid. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking first aid for a plaster from one finger. I am Gava. I organise this. Any chance you can get me a wee Winnie the Pooh plaster from a fucking...
Mate, for £5,000, you need a fucking plaster.
I hadn't had the bill yet. See, if I did, I'd went in and I got a massage and I fucking make sure. Like, there's this big toe cookie, I had to get the whole fucking works and to get an MRI. So I was like, I'll be one of their stats if I was, but I didn't see the levels when you think about something like 2000 Trees and Art Tangent and Damnation. There is a level of responsibility that Damnation doesn't have, that these outdoor, like, there is a licensee and a venue owner and all this in place, that when the cops and that show up and the ambulance and that show up, it's not that me, Paul, Angela, fucking the show rep, we're not the people to go to. They go to the venue owner, the guys get access to. He's like your Rob Safety, your licensee, your Simon. He's the guy they're set up, they're all on site with fucking, they know what's going on, and they're like report to the authorities rather than just the random promoter who showed up in any given night. So a lot of that information doesn't get back to me. I've never seen an ambulance on site. I've never seen anyone go to that thing for any more than just minor injuries, like a mosh pit related. Or I did get a cut in my eye because I was swinging my fists about at a fucking bleeding through show. But even though 6,000 is punchy, it's a bit like, you would always rather pay than ever be in a situation where you were shot when you really needed it. But just when that question got me, fucking £6,000. £6,000 to have some medics. They are not cheap people either.
No, they're not. Okay, so Danielle Meehan asks, the Music Press Fights Back episodes gave a fantastic insight into a world I know nothing about. Clearly Gavin has a passion for journalism and presenting the facts, as they are with no bias. I know it's a bit off topic of the podcast, but I'd love to know the piece of journalism that Gav is most proud of over his career. I'd ask James piece of auditing he was most proud of, but I'd rather not be bored to tears. Sorry, James.
Oh,
wild.
Well,
it's wild.
Fucking
Danielle
sprays
clearly
me.
knows nothing about auditing.
if you knew the stories of auditing. Now, this question probably deserves a bit more thought than I have been able to give it. But I'll do my best. I'll spec. I recall on a previous podcast, don't know how journalism came up, but I did. I mentioned as an editor, I took the decision to run a story about 9 drug deaths that happened over the period of a weekend, and it was dodgy street Valium. It's called. They had cement in it. It was a mixture with cement, and at the time, this was my story. But at this point, like I didn't write the story. It was one of my reporters who wrote the story. I took the decision to run it the way that we run it. That 9 drug deaths were linked to this, and I had Police Scotland, DCI, sergeants, fucking all the contact. I mean, they were dead against it. I mean, absolutely, do not even think about running this story. The NHS, fucking local authority, the families were like, this is a bit of, don't know, just a shame, but there's a bit of like the whole digging through it, and it's a bit like their thoughts at that time, and losing someone is not about the way I viewed it as journalism is the facts or how the facts are presented. And I went with it. We ran the story the way that I saw it, the way that I viewed it. I will never know if it helped save anyone's life that weekend, if anyone ever saw that story or heard it on social media. We've shared hundreds of thousands of times. If it was a case of someone didn't take those pills that were obviously in circulation, who didn't die because that story went. But that was my feeling, that I never really had time for the thought process of what the cops want. The cops want a lot of the time what's a good PR exercise for them. They want it to look like they are not losing control of the war on drugs. The NHS don't want people getting frightened and showing up at me saying, oh, my mate took a blue pill. Like, they've all got different reasons. But my thought was, it's true. We've heard this. We've got sources that are saying this. The reporter who got it all together was that, and this is the way I'm going to present it. And it caused a lot of fallout. A lot of people were very, very angry with me for doing it. And I don't give a shit. My job was there to make difficult decisions as editor of that paper. And to this day, I feel like I made the right decision. And if there was someone who didn't take any of the blue pills because they've been told that there was a bunch of blue pills to get flushed in the toilet, fucking great. And I hope it did save another family for that. I think it'd be good police work or good journalism or good any preventive work. You never know the outcome. There's no one ever tells you, oh, by the way, because you stopped that terrorist attack in London, there's 15 families that are no fucking mourning loved ones. So I mean, so the cops are just going to have to go like, that's their job and that's what they're doing it. And not that I've made there's a bit of like a moral thing in there about the whole, I hope I save people's life. That's still not my main concern going forward. It's, this is true, and I'm going to publish it in my paper. So that's an example I kind of gave before. 2 ones that quickly come to mind. When I was a 21-year-old junior reporter, anyone who's listening to this is maybe getting into news journalism. It's a great example. My editor was like, you need to go out there and and build some contacts, people you're able to phone locally. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to this drugs meeting. These people that are involved in drugs meetings, there's no one there that doesn't have a story that will fucking rock you to your core. So go and find out why this person's setting up this community drugs meeting and how to support group. And the story was, this woman had cancer of the tongue or the mouth, and her son was a heroin addict, and she'd basically committed, 10, 15 years of her life to try to support him through it. She'd given him everything. She had not a penny left. She had remortgaged the house, lost her, like, her house was 250 grand, something, completely lost her house. And the very rock bottom point was when she was in recovering for getting a section of her tongue cut out, her son came in, pretending it was a visit, and robbed her her last £20 that was in her handbag as she was recovering with her getting her tongue cut out. And I had this at 20 years old, this story, and it was the front page everywhere. Front page of the Daily Mail, front page of the Daily Record, front page of fucking absolutely everywhere. And it came from quite a boring, bog standard route. It wasn't like I was like 50 years in the war investigative reporter or something. It was like, oh shit. And that was a bit of advice I always give to new reporters when they come: get to your local council meetings, get to these drugs, like these, the stories behind the people, they're here because of something. That one stood it. And then just before I kind of gave up in journalism a wee bit,
did you write sorry, just go back. Did you write the originals? You wrote the story and it went elsewhere. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I have had front page stories in every single newspaper in the UK multiple times, and a lot of them not credited to me or my paper. The people ripping off your copy in the UK is quite common, and sometimes it's quite, like, Renfrew was talking about a syndication department. That's like, so I always worked for the same company, the company that owns the Daily Mirror, the Daily Record, the Daily Sunday Mirror, the Daily Mail. Sometimes what you've got is there's somebody in your company literally selling your copy to other people to make money because they own the copy. It's like it's going out for that paper. So there was a lot of times where you get weird situations where I'd be the only reporter in court for that court reporting, and it would show up and it'd be like in the Sun, which was a rival paper. Like, how the fuck's this? I'm like, is this just been ripped off? And also, how can you can't stand behind any of this because you don't. If I fucked up the reporting, you've fucked up the reporting, in which case you've done as well. So I want to get a wee bit fishy out there. And that one was an early example. I think I might have got some payments. Like, so I sent £100, 150 quid for maybe some of the papers. But at the same time, it was like for a story that turned out like that. It really hit, I don't know if it was a big drugs thing, but it was like properly of the moment. It was like the war on drugs, and here's something that like fit the narrative to a lot of papers of how desperate it can get that a son will rob his mum when she's in fucking after recovering for cancer treatment. And then at the end of my career, it was one I was particularly proud of because I had no skin in the game whatsoever. I was at a theme park with my kids, my family and wife, and a roller coaster came off the rails and landed, and I was, I don't know, 20, 30 feet away, and I went up at a patch I never covered and took some pictures, some video. And at the time I was a bit like, I already knew it was the front page of every national paper the next day because, well, why wouldn't it be? But I thought at the time there was 10 dead easily. I mean, I couldn't see anything, but it was upside down. But how the fuck can a roller coaster land on its head off the roller coaster and not everyone there be dead? I've never mind who it landed on. And again, that was one of those ones where I got in touch with, like, Daily Record would have been on a Sunday Mail. I can't remember which edition was coming out, and I just got in touch with colleagues that I had for that paper and says, look, I'm here. It's one of these situations where it's at 1 in a million. You won't be able to get anyone onto this site. It'll be closed now. It was no like fucking newspapers had drones or helicopters as in America. So what I've got here is all you're going to get. And I right enough the next day. Fortunately, I think people may have been seriously injured, but I don't think anyone actually died in that, which is a fucking miracle. And it was something about that was just about being a journalist. I wasn't paid for that story. I never sold it to anyone. I just done it because I was there. I turned out later there was a sports journalist from the Daily Record on site at the time who also heard it, got his kid and his wife and left. So it was something about that as well. It was a bit like, well, that's the difference in how you view that career and how it's, because when you're there, I mean, people are like, oh, you're fucking scumbag, you're taking a picture of this thing like this. First off, journalism's about fucking marking accurately something that happened as it happens. And then in history, do you look back and say, look, that's how it happened and that's how it was documented by a fucking journalist who'd done the job right. And secondly, after a week or a month or a year with these situations, this is evidence that it gets used by the families of the victims to get the compensation for the insurance companies and the people that are trying to claim that it was an accident because something else happened or the lever was up or down or whatever. Like, all the scumbags that like, oh, you looked at you lost 2 legs, we'll send you £1,000. You're like, no, there's journalism here that actually shows that you guys were negligent and you guys fucked up. And that's the case for almost all these major accidents. And like, ultimately, the people that get called the scumbags on it and the parasites that are there, and you're only here to use us for that, are the ones that are providing a lot of the information that gets used further down the line for these victims and families to get the compensation that they deserve.
Mate, it's a proper career, that, isn't it? It's not booking some bands. So people can have a mosh pit.
I don't make me flipping about the music industry. I mean, I understand that my fucking life's on the line with like my career, what I do, how we buy food for the house with damnation. But it is tough to get too worked up about some of the nonsense about does my band left or right, or did you win that award or not win that award, or a lot of stuff that happens to me. I mean, I find it really important. I'm passionate about this, but when you've went to the door of a teenage girl who was ran over in a petrol station the day before and died, and asked the family if you can come in so you can get her, it's like nothing that I'll ever do again will be like that. And I've done dozens of death knocks, dozens. I covered dozens of fatal accident inquiries, like murders, rapes. Like I said, I went into some really shitty situations where you're like, I wouldn't not be surprised if you did want me, but I'm here honestly with the best intentions. But I'm going to tell your side of the story, and I've also seen what happens when you don't do it. That when you take the easy approach, which is listen to a second cousin on social media who says that wee Lindsay was an absolute cracker and the spelling of Lindsay's wrong and their age is wrong and and then the next thing you know, the family are seeing it's in the major papers the next day, and the details of their nearest and dearest who have sadly passed in some tragic circumstances aren't even right. And like, well, how's that? Because the journalist didn't even go to the fucking door and just say, this is who I am. I'm sorry this has happened to you, but it has happened. It will be reported on. And I'm here to try and do it as accurately as I possibly can. And whether you want to do that or not is completely... I won't ever be back. This isn't the news of the world. I'm not sitting outside with a fucking camera. I'm chapping your door once. I'm asking if you want to do it. If you don't want to do that, it's fine. I'll walk away respectfully. And I've done that a million times as well. And not doing it is worse. Believe me, because see, when you fuck something up and you've not done it, you feel like a fucking proper scumbag because you've taken somebody else's tragedy and really not even done the work to make sure that you were as accurate as you could possibly be in it, just because it's very difficult to do. Sorry for taking that was funny back to the Jack Daniels. And maybe that's a little bit insight to why I really care. Know what I mean? Why? Because it can be sports journalism, it can be music journalism, it can be travel journalism. It's a bit like, I mean, just apply some of the same standards to
mate.
That.
Not every moment is an opportunity to give the music press a kick.
No, that's what I was saying. That's why maybe I was a wee bit like some people are saying, but why do you care so much? Why do you fucking give? Who cares if they do this or they don't do that? I'm like, okay, that's maybe a wee bit insight to why I did care.
Good. Okay, so Danielle, you will never know my amazing auditing stories. You can just assume that you've missed out massively.
Daniel Hay, another good friend of the podcast. For James, thanks Daniel. How do you decide how many buggies you get for each festival? Who has the rights to one? Why do some teams get given rubbish ones that don't start? And most importantly, how do you decide on their names?
So obviously Daniel helps with, he did the setup at both festivals last year, so some of that involves inside knowledge. I mean, look, at 2000 Trees last year, there were 10 buggies in setup. It's a free-for-all. If you need one to do your job, you can probably get one. But then when the festival starts, there's an allocation. The arts liaison team, or the sort of the band team, production arts liaison, they get 3. Ollie gets 1. I get 1. The bar team has 1. Brendan gets 1. Brendan's one of the organisers. Rob Safety gets 1. The Wi-Fi team and the first aid team. So basically, there's 10 buggies. Like, you could double that number and you still wouldn't have enough. Like, everyone needs a buggy. Like, I've got multiple people that work for me or with me that want buggies.
Does Rob get one?
No, Rob's Rob does not give a fuck. If Rob wanted a buggy, he'd have a buggy. He doesn't give a fuck.
So
Andy doesn't give a fuck.
What's your thinking on it? Like, why do you give a fuck about having a buggy?
Well, I mean, the unprofessional answer to this question is that if you're gonna enjoy the fruits of a festival at the bar, etc., a buggy is much safer than a car.
Oh, so, right, I didn't realise it was one of the other. I thought like buggy or walk, because you went straight to car.
No, so some people will drive their. I mean, oh man, this is unprofessional. But like some people can just drive their car around. Simon doesn't drink. He's in his 4x4. He's driving it around. But I always find that when you're in a festival, and even in backstage, there are people everywhere. Like reversing is funky in a car. I don't want to be in a car. With a buggy, you feel like you can hear and see everything. There's no sides. So I'm like buggy. Whereas some people, like Andy, once the festival starts, I think after he's done his stuff on the Wednesday, he's with his family and they're quite happy walking around and they don't feel like they need a buggy. Whereas I'm at the main stage and there's a band on in the forest, and that's a good walk. It's at least 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
Or you can like gun it in a buggy for 2 minutes. So for me, it's like a way to see band.
I mean, don't get me wrong, James. As a man who's been in the passenger seat of that buggy often, I am all for it, mate. And if Rob has to walk, I'm also all for Rob walking. I'm just like, this is great. Keep it up.
To be honest, at Arctangent, a buggy is largely pointless. I drive into the site in the day and I drive home at night. And I do use it in the day, but at Trees, it's just so big and sprawling that I really need one. So look, just to go back to Daniel's question, the quality of the buggies varies wildly. Ollie always comes in, gets the best, because Ollie's Mr. like car. He knows cars. So he's always got the best one. And then in terms of the name, so we used to have 4 buggies at ATG, and it got to the stage where there's 4 keys and 4 buggies, and you're like going around because the fucking key, you got the wrong key for the wrong buggy, and someone's taken your buggy, and they're like, oh no, I thought that was my buggy. So then we had names. So they started off as the big 4 thrash bands, 4 buggies, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, and then it's now become this like in joke where basically Dinah, Rob and Sarah use it as a way of winding me up. That instead of having like buggies called Slayer, we have buggies called I don't know, Britney Spears or things that are just worse than that. So every year it's a way of them pissing me off. And basically what I do is I get a sign and I change the name of my buggy every year to Slayer. So that is like a running joke basically. But the reason you need to name the buggies is because one year I woke up one morning and I came out my caravan. Please stop me if I've told this story before on the podcast. And my buggy wasn't outside my caravan. And I was like, fuck, I think my buggy's been stolen. And I was like, I've got the key. I think my buggy's been stolen. And then I went down into the site, I had breakfast, watched some bands, and I was like radioing everyone and saying to everyone, my buggy's definitely been nicked. And then I went to, it was the word stage. It was in a different place then. And I was stood in the word stage and I was watching something and I was like, my brain just went, your buggy is behind this stage. And I went out the back and there's my buggy. And it's like, no one's fucking stolen your buggy. No one has stolen your buggy.
Shifty, maybe cut that for different reasons. I know you've had a few drinks. Were you suggesting that you drive that buggy maybe not sober? Is that what
I'm suggesting that I parked it somewhere and then I went to bed and then and then the next morning I was like, someone's definitely nicked it. So actually it's the opposite of that, Gav. I wasn't suggesting I drove it unsober. I was
You're
suggesting that I wasn't sober and I fucking walked home.
Mate, you're absolutely right, because that's my experience of you. As soon as you've had one or two, you walk and you leave it. That's what happened. And that's what always happens.
Thanks for lying for me, Gav. I appreciate it. Next question.
Yeah, I know. I'm at the Jack Daniels are hitting now, so I'm ready to go on these wee tangents. Well, and no one's listening to a podcast. We're just having a chat. The art tangent and that bug drive, because I tell you what, art tangent is the best layout ever in terms of just how fucking convenient it is. But the actual, when everything's convenient, something that's a minor inconvenience becomes like, oh my God, that's fucking a billion miles away. The walk back at any point to go to your tent is that 20-minute detour where you're starting to think, oh, what's she bands? So I'm thinking to myself, do I go there where I always go every year? Or do I go into that section is where that VIP tent bit is? And if I go in there, then I go like, oh shit, this isn't a good either, because now it just never fucking, the noise never stops. What's your thinking with that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I never want to go in the VIP tent, but until it's midnight.
I want
to watch bands.
You definitely need to get, but the watch band bit, that's my point. So you're kind of sitting there and you're like, somebody's back at that tent, and I'm going to go back and get something. Fuck, I forgot my Sudafed. I'll go back, I'll jump in it's 20 minutes, where it's like, I see other people just going and grabbing whatever they're going to grab, and it's a 30-second journey. So you go 30 seconds there, 30 seconds back, and you've no, like, okay, well, let's just go see the next band. I feel like sometimes we miss, like, I missed Pelican last year. I was really keen on seeing, because we were away going to collect something or do something with other people. You're about like, you know what, if that was just right there, we could have been in and out. And
your tent was the closest of the backstage camping it could be, almost, wasn't it?
Aye.
There's another, like...
Oh, you can go right down to the bin, you're in the barn.
Mate, have you considered that you could have a caravan this year if you only accept my offer, my very generous offer?
That you get a balcony? Oh, but actually, the big man getting in touch with me, he said, oh, what's this about balconies? And
did he do it, Tom?
Aye, and again, Gav is the worst businessman, least money motivated or orientated guy in the fucking planet. I was just like, I was good laughing at it. And I was like, he might literally be sitting going, mate, here, do you want some?
If he got in touch, fucking come on. Tom, send him one more message. Right.
Okay. So, Adam Campbell Train. I think this guy's in Dimscûa. I'm not great with names, but I'm pretty sure he's in Dimscûa. Oh, and happy Dimscûa Day to all who celebrate. I see that there was a bunch of albums that went out, and people are very, very excited about the numbered Two Promoters One Pod exclusive vinyl variant. People are really excited about numbers they got. And I made the assumption, after the way that Kev was talking, that 1 and 2 would likely be me and you. And then the fight was going to be, if you get number 1 and I get number 2 for the Dimscûa. And it turned out Joe fucking Public, it might actually be a guy called Joe Gallagher, I think, got number 1 at 100. So if I've got number 19, then I suppose I just, at least I'm doing it. There's no special treatment for me. So, hi, happy Dimscûa Day, and I'm glad everyone's got that. Absolutely fucking brilliant. Why has the ATG Silent Disco changed locations over the years? Pre-COVID, it was on the main stage. In 2022, it was spilling on the Bixler. Do I remember it in the Elephant stage in 2023? Last couple of years, it's been okay. What's your thinking there? So if any part of you thought that all Dimscûa is just talent and exciting questions, no, they think about the humdrum too.
I think it's just a nice way of proving that there's no, as an organizer of a festival, you don't really know the right answers, and you're constantly learning and constantly trying to work out where's the flow of people, how many people are going to go to any one thing, which is the right place to put a band. And then we put it because we used to have Trees, the Silent Disco was on the main stage. It was like, okay, we put it on the main stage. HG. I remember being in there some year, and it was fucking depressing. It was really wet year. Everyone had just fucked off the bed. Everyone was sad because it was so wet. And the main stage was a massive tent, and it was empty. And I mean, there were people in it, but it was quiet. And I just thought that is not the right place for the Silent Disco. And we ended up going to the wrong fucking end of the spectrum. Once we started doing the live Silent Disco stuff, we put it in the Elephant stage. And then that was meant way, way, way too small. So we've dotted it around. And now, I mean, I was at Yoko last year for 2 or 3 of the live bands, and it was the right size. It wasn't full, but it was a good. You don't want to be packed it for silent disco, even for a live band. You don't want to be touching everyone like you're at a gig, I think. So yeah, it's just.
Am I right in thinking at Trees you do several different ones? Because I was in different tents at Trees.
Yeah. So it's at the cave and the Axiom and the forest, and that right. bit of the bit of the cave and the Axiom is amazing. When it's sunny, the whole outdoor bit between, like, no one's even in the tents. It's just like they're just everywhere, and it's a great view. Because for anyone that doesn't know or doesn't go, the headphones light up, so you're in the dark and there's thousands of people outside just dancing, and you can just see everyone's heads moving. It's good. It's cool.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, next question. Adam Robert Shaw says, the end of January saw a slew of festival announcements. What is it about the last week in Jan that makes it a good time to make an announcement? And does the fact that everybody is doing it have an effect on yours? I thought this would be interesting, Gav, because I feel like you bucked the trend. I think you did 2 January announcements.
Yeah.
You did a mid-January announcement, right?
No, I mean, because it was not ideal. Like most people wouldn't. You don't want you don't want your announcements going out around fucking Christmas, New Year. You don't want your announcements going around anything where it's going to just other things are going to absorb that time. Like no one for Damnation, or very few people for Damnation, probably goes to Glastonbury. But even people who don't go to Glastonbury have got some sort of opinion, and it just sort of floods the internet for that few days. You probably don't want to stick your announcement for Damnation as Glastonbury's happening as a good example of just avoiding easy markers on a calendar where you just want people to have a bit of headspace to think about what you're doing. But then you can say that about Saturdays and Sundays. You don't make announcements on Saturdays and Sundays just because people have got shit to do. There's no structure of the week. It's like if you moved this podcast to just a random Tuesday afternoon, you would notice a drop off considerably, even if it was the best podcast we've ever done, because it wouldn't be any structure of the week. So you try to make it, if you can get it close to payday, which a lot of festivals do, and not in the lead up to anything that's particularly exciting or newsworthy. I mean, you only want to put like fucking opening game of the World Cup and you're announcing your bands. Like there's so many people just their attention's on something else. England are playing and you're putting an English festival top of death metal. You're like, aye, sounds cool, mate, but I'm right back to watching England at the World Cup. They're just easy common sense things you try to do. We got a bit desperate because we were supposed to have an announcement together for November. It didn't happen. December didn't happen. People were starting to get a bit antsy and be like, come on, I've got my ticket now. I've had my ticket now for the best part of 2 months. You don't have a single band. So the first January announcement went out as soon as we could do it. And then the second one went out when it was closer to payday. And by that point, we were able to announce health. So that's why those two happened. Now we're in that bit of that in between. What do we do? I always thought that February would be a quiet month for us. It'd be lovely to get something out by sort of payday again at the end of February. But what I wanted on that announcement is the band for last week. I get told we're not getting. So I think you made the point in the last one. A lot of what's happening with Arctagent Damnations, you're announcing the bands you have. We get them, you get them, kind of thing. That is kind of how it's working. I'm not sitting there with 5, 6, 7 bands sitting all tied up for Damnation that I'm just not telling you about. That's not the case. And but at the same time, there is a bunch of bands, smaller bands, but I'm also not going to give you 6 bands an announcement. You're a bit like, oh, who are they? I mean, there has to be some balance to it. You need the big names at the top. And then it to filter down. There's no point in giving you 5 or 6 bands. You're like, who? And also no point going out with one announcement and having 5 or 6 bands and they're all bangers. And then all you have after that is the Who bands. You know what I mean? So there's no science to it, really. It's no ideal if you need to announce them middle of January. We've done okay. The ticket sales definitely spiked at the end of the month with health and the payday. People having money. But you go with what you can when you can.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 10 years of data to back up the fact that payday is the time to do an announcement, I think, and that, so basically last week of the month and the first week of next month is when we do all our sales. And Adam's right that it does get stupid in January because not everyone will do one in October and not everyone will do one in November and not everyone will do one in February, but fucking everybody's going to do it in January. So I think can't remember if we clashed with Outbreak or Roadburn or both. And
Radar as well, I think you had Radar, Outbreak and you guys all in the space of 40 hours.
Yeah, so it's just, in terms of press and social media, you do take up the noise, like you share the noise, I think, a little bit. So it's not ideal, but I've done this thing where you try and chat to people about when you're going to announce, and it's a fucking nightmare. I mean, me and you had it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but if you try and really, if you want to talk to, Roadburn and Outbreak, and the big boys downloading stuff aren't going to talk to you about it, but it's just too complicated to organise that. So yeah, you just go for it.
James, imagine, because it's right. Okay, let's say you're totally on board. Incineration, Radar, Outbreak, Damnation, Arctangent, all on the same page, right? Okay, that's what we're announcing. Then what happens? Everything behind the scenes. Oh, you can't actually do that then. Oh, I don't like that logo there. Everyone's dealing with their own bollock billing. Everyone's dealing with their own politics. Everyone's dealing with late cancellations and miscommunication with agents. And then it's about like one piece of that jigsaw falls apart and then everybody's plans are all fucking up in the air. So no one's deliberately trying to go on your day or the day before you or the day after you. You just kind of get some loose plan together and then you're a bit like, okay, hopefully this doesn't go the same day. Downloads announcing the 3 headliners.
Absolutely. And just to go back to the question, the reason January is mad is because of December, like you said. Basically, there isn't a payday in December that you can also announce a band on. So, I mean,
yeah. And also,
we talked about this before.
You announce early December or don't announce at all.
Like, yeah, well, I'm like a don't really want to announce early December either.
So really late November. See, as soon as you get that, like it doesn't fucking matter. You might be the most dedicated fan in the anyway. If you get fucking kids and family and you get people thinking about where they're going for Christmas dinner and what Santa's bringing and all that.
The moment someone puts a fucking tree up and there's people walking down the high street in a fucking Santa hat, do not announce fucking rock or metal festival. It's a mistake because no one gives a fuck.
True.
And there is a time in November where you're safe, and then suddenly you just go, "Fuck, it's Christmas."
You don't know exactly what it is, but it's the tree and the Santa hat, and you go, "Fuck, that's it."
Yeah. So you got to be careful.
Totally right. People they start thinking about, you know what, the holidays are coming up. I'm going to get away for this. I'm going to buy this. What's happening? I don't do that. A lesson for anyone. Do not be announcing shit mid to late December. It's going to get fucking swallowed up by everybody's festive cheer instead. So, hope I answered your fucking question, Adam. I really hope it did. Glenn Baxter, with the return of cult owner, is James Scarlett. Is James Scarlett dreading the curse of Johannes or excited about the prospect of giving some great new content for the pods? I believe just before you had it, the first thing you get back with the whole music pressing, when all the shit was kind of great content for the live show. I was like, your takeaway for all was, at least we've got stories to tell in the live show.
Imagine the private stories we can tell on the live show.
So, tell me about
bring it on. I mean, just a quick answer really here that Glenn asked this question in the week that we started advancing, and the first band we started advancing with for Arctangent is Cult of Luna. So I'm feeling good. Like literally last night we were discussing it. I sent Sarah and Matt all the information about basically. It's different with you, I think, and how you run Damnation. But with me, I just agree to stuff, and then I go, "This is what I've agreed to, so you have to do this." And then I never really. I know you've got production people, but it never really comes back to me. Sarah knows and Matt knows this is what we've agreed to, and they are now going to do it. So I'm predicting.
My issue with that, it's the cost. It's not the fact that you can't pass it on to Marios and Mario's team. They're going to make it happen. They'll make anything happen, but it might be 14 grand more than what you thought.
Yeah,
so at that point, it's like you're agreeing away to it, right? And you're saying, okay, and then that 14 grand still happens, but you're just kind of like, okay, well, I agreed to it and it's getting swallowed. And I'm like, I'm not fucking swallowing the 14 grand, so I'm fighting it at the start.
Well, the cost, it depends what you're talking about, but the cost can be mad.
Production, man, because there's no fee. Nobody's going, oh, we're going, because we're showing up. And like, James agreed a fee, but he's also saying big extra. It's like, no, we want this, but it's all going to be exclusive lights, exclusive pyro, exclusive. I mean, with the big headline bands, they're all going to be having exclusive backlight anyway. But just the exclusive production, the screen, all that's just for that band. And then you're like, that can start to run into thousands upon thousands if you don't check it.
It can. Although if you got a situation like some of the bands that we've booked this year, they don't know what they want. So do you want to get the deal over the line and announced? Yes or no? Of course you fucking do.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna. This is not specific to the Primus deal, but let's just say Primus don't know. The agent doesn't know. No one fucking knows what Primus might ask for. Are you going to hold the deal up as the booker? No, you're not. You're just going to go, yeah, let's fucking do it. Like, no one knows what Cult of Luna and Julie Christmas doing Mariner hasn't been. Was the last time it happened Damnation? Or
I mean, Roadburn maybe the year after Damnation. So maybe
I was there for. But you know, they don't know what they want it to look like when you're making the booking, because they didn't even know they were definitely going to do it.
Yeah.
So there's an element of like, you have to like, and if it gets mad, you have an argument. It's not like they can go like, build us the Las Vegas Dome, and we want to do fucking, you know, there's a line where you go, no, we need to now have a conversation. So
yes. Okay.
I think let's go back to the Arctangent mantra that Glenn, it will be fine.
Glenn, I'll be fine. One more in you, James L.
Yeah.
You read it then.
Do you want me to ask it? Tom Blood says, because it's got my name next to it. Tom Blood says, noticing that James tends to pick songs that are typically album openers for On the Record. Gav has been known to go for bangers, etc. Have you both got a pattern for where your favourite parts of albums tend to sit? For example, are your On the Record suggestions to pull people in, but your favourite songs are typically the album closers?
Oh man, it's one of these ones when I love the fact that this thought, this level of detail. Here's my honest opinion. I think James is quite lazy sometimes, and he goes for. He will often say, "I'll be the top song in Spotify," or it's the album opener. And a lot of times when you go and check, it's the album opener or the top song in Spotify. Now that's sometimes coincidental, sometimes because that's just where James works. That's the parameters as on the record. I love that band. I like everything they're doing in that record. Oh, the top song's fine.
I mean, just to be clear to the audience, Gav's answering on my behalf there. I'm not the UK music press, mate.
also, with me, it is a bit more like I don't know. It's not that I'm going for the band. I'm going for the one that I like most from the record, and sometimes for that'll be completely coincidental if it happens to be further in the record. I've never thought, there's no pattern to where I listen to the record and I go, oh, this is the sweet spot at track 5 or 6 or minute 20, 25 that I go, I bet this is when it gets good. If you're, I mean, even thinking about this for the very first time in my entire life, and my assumption would be the best track, the strongest track would be the opening track. Is that not the way that bands try to put their music together? If it's not, then fair play, but I'd have thought they would have. And I've never given any thought to it at all, although it does feel to me, I'm looking forward to your answer now, because I'm looking forward to you, an album club answer, like an absolute 30-minute epic about the structure of the albums, mate. Hit me with it, go. See us off in style.
No, I think that Spotify has ruined this for us a little bit, in that I'm always annoyed. I'm annoyed by myself because I start, if I'm like, I want to listen to Pussifer, I start at song 1 and then I do a 30-minute commute, and then on the way back I start at song 1 again, and the next day I start at song 1. So my listening is totally skewed to the start of albums. Like there aren't many people that listen to more music than I do, but definitely my big thing is that I'm skewed to the start, and I know that because I really hate I find it hard to go to the Mole album and just start in the middle. Yeah. But I'm not a fucking 18 sitting on my couch fucking doing nothing, am I? Life's just busy. So you're like, you don't always have an hour to listen to the album or 45 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, my on the record picks probably aren't that thought through. I'm always like, because I'm an album guy. I'm like, you should listen to this album. Like the band I'm going to put on in a minute, you need to listen to this album. I haven't really thought through what song.
And to be fair, James, to be fair to you, maybe Tom Blood hasn't been like a day one listener. It took a long time for you to start like offering up track titles, or you were very much of listen to this band, woo, and I'd be like, right, okay, which track? You like all of them, and I would go listen to Blood Incantation, like, which track, James? The first one. It was like. There's a lot of times in answers you've given for on the record, it's like this is a band I'm all in, and you need to be all in too. And the fact you're asking me for one track's kind of offensive to my listening habits. I want you to go and listen to the whole thing. So I get the point that maybe it comes across that you've just plucked a name at the air, which happens to be either the top track or track 1, which are often the same. Whereas with mine, it's probably a bit more measured that, okay, that's the track I like from the album, and I've recognised the album title. So, and there was a lot that brought that back to me, that there was a lot of times, like, James, on the record, though, I can't put on an album, because a few times you just put the album on. James, this is going to be a struggle if I keep adding full fucking albums for every single band you like a song from. So, that Tom Blood, if you aren't a day one listener and never saw me massage James into this way of thinking, yeah, it was a struggle.
Good. Fucking happy days, mate.
How was that for you? How was that for a wee cheeky question? Did you enjoy that?
It's good. It's good. I enjoyed it. I feel like we've given you the full beans there, I think. For a couple of hours, possibly.
Well, we don't know. It's hard to tell, because what happens is, there's a lot of inside baseball bullshit. We now make sure that we're synced up, so we let that run for 10, 15 minutes before we start. We actually started the console. Shifty's got something there to work with, and our lips are in sync with the audio. And so we've got no idea. We used to look at the clock and know exactly what it was. And the pee breaks, we just let them run too, because we don't want to lose anything. We're just basically shit scared of losing anything we've recorded. So sometimes we look at it right now, it's 2 hours and 24 minutes in front of us, which it can't possibly be 2 hours and 24 minutes. But that's how long James has been sitting there down in those rums.
Hour 50. The clock, I'm going to guess. There you go.
You're going to go for hour 50, okay?
It was fine there. It was good.
I've enjoyed myself. For hour 4 now, but I've not finished yet anyway. How could you possibly do that with a shout out for our good friends at ISO Merch? Now, and you know when you've got a deep breath of that, it's like, come on. We got my brother, my own fucking brother. We go to Deftones, and him and his wife, my sister-in-law, let's go get some Deftones merch. Now, fair enough, but the t-shirts are 40 quid. The long sleeves / jumpers are 65 quid. God, I don't even see a hoodie. I never saw a hoodie when I was there, but fuck, it could have been less than 80. And you're like, you guys already know. You have done the sleep token trick. I told you to go to ISO Merch first before sleep token and pay 18 or 17 quid with your discount instead of 45 for your sleep token t-shirt. Why would you go and do this at Deftones? And you can see the realisation in these faces. I'm talking to, like, oh, fuck, that's right, ISO Merch. Like, how many times do we need to do this dance? How many fucking times do we need to do this dance? I mean, if he's desperate to give away your money. If you want to give away your money for a venue cut, then bash on. But I would suggest not. I would suggest you go to isomerch.com for the Deftones t-shirts, $18.99, and I think last week this is 18 of them, 18 options. Then get your discount, get your t-shirt for less than £17 instead of 40, or your hoodie for 35 instead of 80. Buy yourself 2, treat yourself, and the money still goes to the fucking band anyway. So I feel like this is a fight I'm going to have to fight for a long time. And it's not just about Deftones. They have stores set up for Megadeth, Radiohead, Cradle of Filth, David Bowie, Black Label Society, Sleep Token, Oasis, Lemmy. I mean, that's just the ones where we've got actual stores. Like, not a couple of items. You get like Anno Nathrak or a Cult of Luna or Converge. Well, they might have the odd T-shirt, the odd vinyl, the odd CD. These are ones where they've got collections for like Radiohead and Cradle of Filth, where you can go in and get wristbands and fucking pussies and bags and joggies and like all sorts of fucking stuff for a reasonable price. So don't make me angry, right? Don't make me angry. Don't go and spend all your money and fucking then come on the internet and say, I can't believe I get done £80 for a hoodie. And I'm like, I'm telling you, just go and get one for 32. Why are you still doing this to me? I'm like, I saw merch are trying to tell you, it's here, it's official, the money goes to the band. There's no reason not to do this. Just go and get it. They'll get it delivered to you. ISO merch, pod 10 at the checkout. Go and support them.
Beautiful. Okay, on the record. So my choice is, well, the band is Ronca. And just to please Tom Blood, I've chosen the first song from the new Ronca album. It's called Tall Stories. So look, this band previously played Trees. They are playing Arctangent this year. They are... I really... I mentioned them at the start of this episode. I really think this fucking album is good, man. It's really good. So they... Imagine if Idols tried to be a hardcore band, but also wanted to keep a big chunk of like left field weirdness about them. That's kind of what they sound like. They're really brilliant. It's like furious. It's fucking adrenaline fueled. It's got like loads and loads of hooks, actual songs, but it's also heavy and horrible. And they are just about weird enough to work at ATG, but they will stand out on the lineup, but in a good way. It's going to be like it's weird to call a band like this a palate cleanser, but from some of the ridiculous, stupid shit at Arctangent, this is like like a normal band.
Yeah.
Playing, like, I don't know, indie hardcore that's just fucking catchy as fuck, but also really weird. I love them.
Weird enough, it was it came out. I had the Ronca track come on. You know that way when you do Spotify and you're listening to the album or an artist you like, and it just takes you next wee journey where it's trying to offer you up suggestions that you may also like. And it was like when a good one lands, and you're like, it sounds so fucking different. I can't. Like, a lot of the time, it's offering you up stuff that you know from your other bands you like. You're like, oh, fucking great, I'm enjoying this, and then something just lands. And it's a bit different. It was Ronca. Now it could be Ronca, new album, old. I don't know anything about this band. It could be something from 15 years ago. It could be the track you're going to put on the record. I don't know. I just remember thinking this is pretty fucking good. And I remember you mentioned them or seen them on the lineup. So I love that too. I absolutely fucking love when it happens.
They're really good. I really thought the last album was great, and this is as good. And yeah. They're just like a band that kind of float. I don't quite know where they sit. The fact that I booked them for Trees and ATG would suggest that, but I like it. So fucking
good.
Check them out.
Looking forward to catching them. Great shout. I am going to have mentioned previously or earlier in this episode as well, Yndi Halda. Sometimes you struggle with you on the record because you're not quite sure what you're aiming for. You try to get something that's like that week's blown you away, or something like, a Deftones classic or a fucking Tool classic. Yndi Halda were like, why wouldn't it be? I remember lying in fucking Cape Verde years ago and having this Dash and Blast, the opening song from their record that I mentioned previously. It's about 16, 17 minutes. Really, I mean, I see them compared to Godspeed You Black Emperor quite a lot. I think it's because there's quite a lot going on, and also a track at 16 minutes takes some listening. But Godspeed You Black Emperor, there is an ominous sound to them. Like, it's deliberate. Like, this is, we're not telling you a story here that it's the ending is going to be good. There's no positivity here. The world's a shitty place, and we're trying our best to be uplifting it. And you get that with Godspeed, and it's quite emotive. This is, I don't know, imagine yourself in, I don't know, in a commune drinking pints of herbal tea and getting together today. Like, it's quite uplifting. It's beautiful. It's never trying to, as I alluded to earlier, it's never hitting the guitar pedal and then going, here's where it gets to like a big bassy section you would get to take away. Even the climax itself is very, like, literally la, 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 la. It's like people singing along in the background. It's just good summer music, post-rock. Great fucking band. I would laugh if they somehow come out the woodwork and we're like, hey, we're right here, let's go and play Damnation. It'd be class. So I hope that is the case. Dash and Blast by Yndi Halda. Amazing UK post-rock band. I have no idea what the situation is with them currently. Hope to hear good things. They've got a full UK tour planned in 2026 and I just never knew anything about it. And that's my choice.
Good choice. Great band. Fucking brilliant band.
They are a very... And also, I think I've got a fucking record downstairs of Yndi Halda from Big Scary Monsters. Just as I was thinking about that there, I'm sure that might be a lie.
No, I'm sure you have. So Kev is about to make this happen for you. Kev, who we're having on as a guest in a couple of weeks.
Well, I think Kev has already sent me. He sent me the lad.
Yeah, but he's going to make he'll make the reformation.
He's like, the thing is with Kev, right, he's just a guy kind of behind the scenes just making shit happen. And he's like, oh, what's that? You want to have a Dimscûa fucking limited edition run with signed cut? Yes, okay. What's that? You want who was the band that he formed for you the other day? No, you did. We had the whole conversation. Is this a private conversation? No,
I don't know.
You said there was a band that's reformed to come and play Trees twice that Kev was involved in.
Oh, Arcane Roots. Yeah.
He had me second guessing myself there. I'm like, we had this full conversation. I was like, I never dreamt this. And you said that Kev was involved in some sort of discussions to get.
He's a label for that. So, I mean,
right,
look,
fucking great.
So look, it's worth saying, like, we've got him coming on in 2 weeks' time, and basically he's fucking... I mean, Big Scary Monsters is like the 25th anniversary, and they've done like American Football, Jamie Lenman, Arcane Roots, fucking Meet Me in St. Louis, La Dispute, Lambrini Girls, Dimscûa now. He's like... He runs the ATG and Trees merch. He's like it's going to be it might be an epic episode, I think, because he does so much. He's got about 17 jobs, and that's 2 of them. So yeah, he's got his fingers in all the pies.
He's a legend, and he was like at the start with the merch. Now in my interpretation, at the start, 'cause he was so involved in helping us out, that I thought he was part of the other company that were getting it produced, and I found out afterwards he wasn't. He was just literally helping us out to make sure we were getting when it was the towels and the cups, and he was just making sure it was getting done. I was like, fucking hell, what a legend.
Yeah. For free, basically.
Exactly. No skin in the game, no money getting made for him, just a guy who was helping out fucking mates.
Yeah.
Well, you as a mate. And at the start, I was like, I agree. Looking forward to having him on. Plenty to ask him. If you have any questions for Big Scary Monsters label boss, Kev, then have at it and we'll go for there. Good for you, big man.
It's good. It was nice for you to allow me to talk. You know, it was good. Felt good.
Do not say, mate, you could have gave as much. I mean, some people might have seen you were a bit spineless and you had no input. I mean, I never accused you of that. I never accused you of
the Jasper's kicked in, hasn't it?
I never accused you of just making sure that all your relationships with these people was absolutely fine. And my festival was going to be getting fucking torched for like 20 years. I never accused you of that at all. But some people might have. So, on that note, I will see you next week.
See you then.